Good evening and welcome to episode 6 of Not a Good Hockey Pod. I'm your host, Alex Nez, and this burly bearded bastard here is my co host, Mick Finley. Bud, we made it through week 1.
Barely.
How you doing, pal? Barely.
Well, Swayman signed.
Whoa. Wow.
So we
How
can
you feeling
just
so far about it? I haven't had too much of a chance to watch the Bruins, but I've been trying to catch in clips just to see if he's been worth that 8.25, pal.
we'll get into it. I mean, I've got, I'll have my minute on the Bruins here, but how you doing? How's everything going for you?
Listen, ups and downs. It's just life. It just happens with it. When
Why
you're a
you
Penguins
pretending? Why you
fan,
pretending for the pod you can handle life? Don't hold back. Don't hold
but
back.
listen, day one was tough. That Ranger game, I was just staring at what would be the best way to drive off the Clemente Bridge.
Yeah.
And then, we play Detroit and we're all the way back, baby. It's okay. And, all things are possible when you have Gino doing goal scores everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely. It's been a week. It's been a week to forget in some aspects, but there's also some good parts, I guess, that I'll dive into. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some news to go over first, right? So,
mhm.
not a ton. I mean, you know, first and foremost, we're already proven to be the worst at this whole thing, like ranking system. Colorado has not won a game.
Oilers stink.
Oilers cannot win a game.
They can't
Oilers
score a goal.
stink.
Their best
No,
player is Jeff Skinner.
their best player is Jeff Skinner right now.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's really
I was
bad.
right on that take, but the rest of it was not looking so hot.
St. Louis are Kings.
They might win the whole damn thing.
Stars are going to go 82-0, but they're still not going to win the cup. Just letting you know.
They just
Oh,
struggled us against the Sharks here.
yeah. I mean, Stars fans don't want to admit it, but Blackwood looked like a fucking young Brodeur in net tonight. I mean, he was fucking looking good, man. I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of it's funny. There's a lot of parody already, man, and that's the shit you can't wait for. Like, how could the Oilers be doing this? How could Colorado be this bad? How could, like I was looking at because I was trying to like send a screenshot of how shitty Jeremy Swayman is. I was looking at the goalie stats and fucking Georgiev over in Colorado has like a 7.5 goals against.
Oh, dude, I was so proud about snaking him when all these goalies were going off in fantasies. I was like, he did stink last year. I knew he wasn't like I knew he was mid, but I was like, he's gonna just like ride these coattails on dubs in Colorado,
No,
and it's nothing's working out there.
no,
It's
he's bad. It's really bad. But I mean, it can only get better because there's no way it can get worse. And I'm just hopeful that I'm not so wrong. We were both like I think in the Utah question mark, like they did surprise me. I said they were the ones that could, and you were right about them there. Sharks are right where I thought they would be. If the Oilers weren't so bad, they'd be dead last. Like, so I don't know. I mean, most of and where are the Ducks? The mighty
hey,
Ducks,
where are they sitting?
dead middle. on,
6.
on their way down, baby.
Nice old pretty spot at 6, pal.
All the way down, baby. I've got very little games to flaunt my predictions, but hey, some of them are panning out, just not St. Louis.
Yeah, I can't believe that one so far. I mean, again, in due time. But yeah, I mean, we start looking at, I mean, that Central Division, God, I still don't even, who knows? That's the thing. There's so many bad teams there that who's just going to end up with what. But that's why I think that there's like such an open door for Utah in that division. And they got some talent. And kind of what I saw last year, they looked sharp. I watched their first game and quite a bit of their second game, and they look in place. They look well coached. Their power play looks strong. Their 5-on-5 looks a little intimidating.
Mhm.
So they don't really have much competition around them. They can do something. They can spark something in their inaugural season here.
No, they can't.
Damn it.
No,
I was trying to sell myself a little bit harder on them.
no, no. I mean, that's all nice, rainbows and butterflies, buddy. But where you're right, you're right. They have so much. They do have a lot of talent. Where you're wrong, they don't have a fucking team name. They don't deserve anything.
That's
Okay.
your argument to this. All right. Yeah,
Let's
listen,
see
the
what
Utahs are fucking slapping though. They are,
laughing.
dude. They are going to go through and
I
just
don't
take
know.
over this division.
I want.
Not through Dallas. They're not going to get through Dallas, but
Can I pat myself on the back of my Nashville take?
go
Where
for it.
are they? Where are they sitting right now?
Utahs.
No, Nashville. My Nashville take.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's shaping up already after week one. Yeah, they're just a ball hair above Colorado down there. Oof.
So I might have been wrong about Colorado, but I wasn't wrong about Nashville, man. I just don't see it work. It looked bad. I watched a
Yeah.
recap of one of their games and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? This is stupid looking.
Dude, I was talking to my physical therapist about this the other day, and we were kind of just like going through certain teams, and the first thing he said was Nashville, and he's just like, "What the hell?" He's like, because I just had this feeling that something wasn't going to pan out for them. And I was like, "Yeah, I got a buddy who's got the same thoughts," and but I was like, "But how? How can it not?" But
because
there it
because
is.
it's just there. You can add as many big names as you want, man. You don't have a system. I don't. We don't have to dive into who fucking not one person that watches this cares about that fucking team.
Yeah,
But some news, right? Let's look at other stuff. So tonight we're recording this the night before it releases because, quite honestly, we had a lot going on this weekend, and we
busy
just
boys.
yeah. So we had a goalie goal. We had a
Hey,
goalie goal.
that's always great.
Gustafson. It was cool.
He's got more goals than McDavid right now.
Fuck.
Think about that one.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Like he has. Uh, what's the Oilers game score right now? Live. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look. Let's see.
I was just
Probably
on you.
it's probably trash. I
It
know
ain't
that they're
good. It's 2-0. Flyers are up, and they're out shooting them too by about 5.
there's news. Michkov, man, 2 goals tonight. The kid is the next Russian star. Period.
Dog. Looks like a
Dog.
dog.
Looks like a
You know what?
dog.
Oh, another hot take of yours. Flyers do look exciting.
I know.
I kind of peeked behind the curtain a little bit and watched them for a second, but
You did? Did you
man,
vom?
they do. I did. I definitely pulled trig afterwards just to get that demon out of me. But I man, I got to say you're right about the young talent on that team, man.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do look like they can be, scary here in a little bit.
They're cool, man. They're cool. I wish it wasn't the Flyers, but they're
I know.
cool.
I know.
Let's talk about that. I thought that was pretty epic. The Gaudreau ceremony tonight. To go without the left wing, drop the puck, and not do anything for 13 seconds. That was a creative memorance.
Class act.
Um, I was getting a little bit like this is all we're talking about, and it's just getting sad, and it's just staying sad. And that when I heard the group, like the entire crowd just chanting Johnny Hockey, I was like, this is dope. This is dope. Yeah,
Goosebumps, dude.
yeah,
Hair
it
started
was cool.
rising up.
It was cool. And if that brings any peace to that fan base, like or his family too, like that, how much he was loved so quickly there, that's pretty cool. So that was a dope way to honor him for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. So you said something about Ovi. What did Ovi do? Who cares? But what did he do?
He got his 700th assist, but he's been in this league for 45 years. I'm surprised it's not a typo saying 7,000th.
I'm actually
But hey,
surprised it's not his seventh assist
good
because
for him.
he
I know, right?
was just fucking
That's actually a good point. All he does is just clap from the point. I mean,
yeah.
so yeah, for him to get that, I mean, shit, no wonder why it took that long. But hey, good for him on that. Another milestone.
Yep.
Um, the fact that he's even out there still pushing his legs around and still, creating something for that team. And just from the highlights I watched earlier today, I mean, they don't look that bad. I mean, they made the Golden Knights like just spin around constantly, so they couldn't stop a puck, stop a pass. They were beating them to pucks. So maybe another fucking take that I was really wrong on.
Well,
But
that's, I mean, dude, what were we? Everything's flipped upside down for the ones we agreed on too. Like the Canucks are a ball hair above Edmonton. They're
yeah,
trash. They haven't won a game yet. Like, I know it's a small sample size, and I also know
but I
that
love to overreact.
I want. This is what the whole thing is about: is overreacting. I'm not going to sit here calmly and be rational. That's fucking ridiculous. Why would we do that? There's no way. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny. It's just funny. Like, aren't the Flames doing good? The Flames are like doing good,
Oh, I
right?
know. Oh, they got me looking in fantasy for just anybody on their team.
They're 3-0, and they're beating the fucking whoever they're playing right now. They're about.
I know. What is this?
Oh, this is
What
great.
is it? Do we not know puck, dude? Is
Maybe,
that just what's
maybe.
happening?
Welcome to the tennis podcast. I'm your host, Mick. I'm fucking out, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a slow news week outside of the Swayman signing. Nothing that really jumps out to me. There was some interesting injuries and stuff. Like, I mean, we should probably talk about Barkov. How incredible it is that he can walk. I mean, buddy, they said
Dude,
at the end of the game he's just week to week. I thought his leg was in splinters. I
I
thought
thought
he
I
died.
thought he blew off his ankle.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
have
was
you
done.
ever been slammed into the boards? I mean,
Every
like that,
every
just
time
like
I'm
feet
on
first or shoulder. Yeah,
every time
it's
I'm
awful.
skating alone on the ice and
Just left for dead out there.
can't breathe, four strides in, and I'm face down. Don't know what to tell you.
Exactly it.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
mean that slam is not easy to take. It's
no,
and the
no, not
way
not with
he
his force and weight. And I mean, it was kind of a bit unnecessary, wasn't it?
well, I was thinking that because unnecessary. I think he was trying to get an icing call, right?
Mm.
And they had an empty net, and he was definitely trying to either get an icing call or just get body around it so the guy didn't pick it up and put it in the net. But I mean, he had no stick. So what was he gonna do? And he just kind of looked like a speed skater out there for a minute. And I'm like, what are you gonna do when you get there? And he did exactly what was gonna happen when he got there. He had no play. And he tried to box him out and lost an edge. And I thought
So
I thought both of his ankles snapped. And
I thought that
then
was it.
I've never really seen Barkov hurt before. I've never watched him get hurt.
Oh, never watched him here. I was say because he's always had like the injury bug issues on and off, and in and
No,
out.
what
But
I don't think I mean that. I think what I'm saying is like I was surprised it bothered me, but I have so much respect for him. I was like,
oh yeah,
fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just love two-way forwards and he's
oh
the
for
best
sure.
he's the best now, so
And that was his mindset too. Like the only thing I can think of is he's just like, no puck is ever going in my net, no matter what. And he literally just put his whole body on the line. Like talk about respect.
right.
Good for you, Sasha.
Yeah, kids so unappreciated in the NHL. Probably not by
Yeah,
players. Probably not by players, but by
no.
fans.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. I mean, and for the longest time, I mean, who was Florida? And I mean, hockey again. It's just like you don't get a lot of news out there in general, let alone
mhm,
South Florida teams for hockey. And then you got this dude who's just an all-around dog.
mhm,
Just a whole 200-foot player, and clearly he just showed it. And when I heard that it was week to week, it was weird. You're right. Like I shouldn't give a fuck, but I was like, oh, okay, good. Like it was just one of those things where I read, I'm like, wow, he didn't obliterate his entire foot. Like,
yeah,
and he can play this season now, which is awesome to hear. There has been a couple injuries already, which kind of stinks though. That's like, again with Columbus, Boone Jenner blew out his shoulder. He might be back before playoffs, and that's just a shoulder. So for him to do that to his ankle and him to be week to week is kind of a miracle.
right, right. I didn't know about Jenner's shoulder. What happened?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how it went down, but they're saying about 5 months.
Mm.
He just blew out his shoulder, basically.
I didn't watch the Celebrini injury, but he's on IR. What did I say?
I mean, young kid, small body. He's going to get bullied, especially when you're that high of a talent. You get a little targeted, I'm sure, too. What happened? Did you see him get injured?
No, no, I
No,
didn't. I just read he was on IR today.
I
I'm
heard
a,
it's not that bad. He should be back soon. So it's
he's not
probably just
traveling with the team for a 3 game. That I know. But if you're landed on IR in general, it's this way of like okay. Just to circle back to what I said, I'm not putting it on him getting hurt. I'm putting it on them not building a team that's frightful around him.
right.
And they aren't. There's nothing on that team that scares me. Like,
No,
and you look at the Chicago DNA around Bedard and around what's that other kid's name? Who gives a shit? It's another kid, and he's good. And they have these just psychopaths around him, around them, and Smith and McElhinney need that. And
right.
instead, they're getting like these like European forwards that are flashy and skilled, and that's awesome. Except for now, you have like I don't know, a fucking high school team iced against fucking psychopaths. Tell me this: what tonight they're playing the Dallas Stars, and they took them to overtime, and that's impressive. And the reason they did is because they're fast, skilled, but they have no goddamn veteran leadership outside of Tyler Toffoli.
Right. Right.
So anyway, who gives a shit?
That's their concern for him. I mean, they got some years to figure it out and build
Yeah.
around him and get that identity for him. So I guess that's step one of getting those key pieces and talents for him. And because they lost a lot over the years, they hit a pinnacle a couple years ago, 7 years ago. But they were still trying to ride on that train and just grasping for straws, and here we are. So they still got some high end talent. They are fast and flashy forwards, and I think that's why they were able to kind of hang with Dallas because that's kind of their identity too, right? So they just had that speed game. They do have some size and everything, and a good goalie, but it's hard to win in this league.
Yep.
One, it's a long season, so you're going to get got by these teams for sure. But to hold them, I mean, Dallas was on a tear right there. They looked like, again, a full complete team like I thought they were.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they just had maybe a little bit of an off night. Sharks just kind of tried to creep up, but they couldn't
It's
finish.
it's classic play down. We're playing
Yeah,
the Sharks, take the night off, and they still had
right.
to fight to win, but they pretty much had it in the bag the whole night, right? Like, I watched most of that game tonight. Was not impressed with really with the Stars. You know who I'm impressed with? Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, kid
I
is unbelievable.
Stankoven too. Those two are Ben who, Sagan who. Like, give a shit. Fucking tell me about Johnston. Tell me about
That's what I'm
Stankoven.
saying, dude.
That's
These
all.
young
That's
kids that
it.
they started picking up, it's incredible how they've been just acquiring this talent too. Talk about that. I mean, they do have those two good old heads in there that have been on that team for a very long time. They can build the culture. You need the culture in the locker room. And now you just have kids that are mature enough, it seems like, and they can just understand it and go through it. And that allows them to just play to the ability that they were put there for. They can play their role. And if they can play a little bit more freely, then they can really excel. The Wyatt is unbelievable, dude. I'm like again, I'm so glad that I was able to somehow uh, get him at our third pick off of Paul's fuck up. Thank you again, Paul. Thank you again.
Well, Paul didn't fuck up too bad. I guess it's a good time to talk about the Swayman deal, right?
Right.
So, oh God, God, I just fucking
And
I
I think
said
he's beating you right now, but
Paul
yeah, in fantasy.
a little bit. I ain't worried about it. Guy sucks. I wish McDavid would put a fucking point up. That'd be nice. I got two of the best fucking players in the game on my fantasy team right now, and that's Paul Cotter, goat, no,
Go.
goat, and I
Go.
got Mark Kostelik, Boston Bruins fourth liner, goat.
I have him written down here as I was kind of going through some players that are unknown, and I just kind of wanted to figure if we wanted to talk about them, tell you to keep an
Oh,
eye
I'm
on him,
gonna I'm gonna
and I
talk
wanted
about
to
him.
talk about that
Oh,
kid
I'm
with
gonna
you.
talk about only him probably,
That's
but
the only person we talk about on that fucking team. But
no, no.
that's
I
it.
think let's start. Let me just start with the Swayman. signing, get that right out of the way because I'm so fucking tired of this conversation. You know, the good news is about Swayman signing is that we have our guy. Um, it's done. The fights with my cousin are done. Um, the fights with everyone are done. I mean, I think some of us are still bitching about it a little bit here and there, but it's nice to know that it's just like, well, it's over with, right? Like we don't have to, it is what it is. Now, here's the thing. Swayman signs. I wake up and get the information, and I see like the Bruins leak him like getting out of his car and pulling his bag out before they announce the contract, trying to do a little PR stunt or whatever. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And he signs for 8 years, 8.25 per. Okay. We were talking on the pod about what I thought was fair and how I thought that Yossi money was fair. 775, 774. The general consensus around every conversation in the NHL was that he should be getting 8 million. And then the gap was he wanted to reset the goalie market and he had educated himself and blah 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 blah. So you didn't reset the goalie market. You took 500K more than expected, which translates to a couple $1 million more. You fought your boss on $2 million for a week, and it let blood hit the water, and had fans rally behind you, rally against you, split up the fan base again, and have a conversation around goaltending that was negative. And ultimately, all you really did, man, was miss training camp and sign for what you should have last year. And you didn't splash into the market. You didn't change anything for any goalie. You didn't benefit much more. I mean, I go back to that argument I had brought up on the Steve Dangle podcast about that guy Jesse saying, "Hey, well, the Crosby thing," and then he goes, "I think Crosby did really well outside of his contract," and the guy just looked at me and says, "Then do good, Swayman. Do better outside of there. Go do the dental commercials, do the hair plug commercials, go get sponsored by Warrior, go get New Balance. Like that $2 million over those years are not going to impact me or you in any way." Me or anyone. But risking your ability to start the season well, giving us Corpusalo game one against the Florida Panthers because of your selfishness. I mean, I'm like, last year I had the best goalie tandem in the league since this guy. First time I've liked a goalie since this guy. I'm not in the Rask camp. A lot of people loved Rask. Great fucking goaltender.
Understandable. Yeah.
Great goaltender, never won me shit. Every time I needed him, no matter what happened, no matter what excuses people make, I needed him to make that save, and he just couldn't do it. And he will go out that way, and sure, he's got a cup, but he didn't play a game, so. And then this year I have what I found out to be personally a selfish goalie, and I can ignore that, man. You just go win for me. Go win for me, and all is forgotten. And I got to say, I've loved him so far. He's been a prick out there. Like, he's playing well, and he's shoving people and getting in the face of people and like punching wingers and shit. Like, it's cool. I like Swayman. I like Swayman on the ice. Am I pissed at the way things went down? Yeah, it was a waste of time. Waste of everybody's fucking time. Sign the goddamn deal. Let's move on. So
with time, you can forgive that, and you're right. You got to win.
Now you got to make that money worth it. Like, his raise was huge, man.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, and nothing changes. You haven't proven anything to me. So now you have to prove it to me. And if you don't, you fuck the team. It's hard. I don't think goalies should be paid the way that they are. I know that sounds so barbaric, but I mean, dude, there's just there's a handful of goalies, maybe 10 I can name, that were worth every dime they ever made.
Yeah.
But there's like 10 wingers on each franchise I can name that are worth every penny that they ever made. And it's just a gamble for me. So we'll see. But it's done. And I'm happy. Done. Moving on. That's where I'm at.
I'm done with it too.
Good.
I don't want to hear about that fucking guy ever again.
I just want to talk about what he can do for us, and apparently it's not much.
So
So
you guys are 2-2 though, right? So the two losses I assume came from Corpy.
no,
No.
no, no.
Womp womp womp. Off to a hot start. So
Same
he's
team
getting
beat
fucking
us.
toasted.
Same team beat us twice. Once against Corpy, once against Swayman. It was the Panthers. I am already sweating. I am already sweating at how angry I am at this fucking turnout for this game. So, are we doing this? Am I jumping in? Is it time to talk about the how I feel? Is the therapy in session? Do I hit the clock?
You want the dog out of the cage, pal? Come on.
Man.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Listen, Panthers have our number, man. Big time. Big time.
They're
They went
they're
on.
insane.
They beat us game one. They made us look stupid. And the truth is, they outplayed us in every aspect, and our goalie really wasn't the problem. Corpusella didn't look great. He wasn't tracking the puck, but I mean, everybody did bad, right? So he was a problem. He wasn't the only.
Yeah, I did watch that game.
Um, that game was awesome at the intensity level to start the season so violently and
Sure.
fun. And
Mhm.
what I got to see was a few things, right? Number one, our bottom six is mean, is awesome. They're fun. They're ready to go. There's a few goals, none of them were impressive, but ultimately our bottom six is making sense to me. It's like the big bad bees are back. Our defense, though, was not defensive at all, and that's been a continuing
See,
problem.
I noticed that too when I was watching that game. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
are they just kind of easing in because they know it's a long season? This is a tough team, or are they just really getting chopped up right now? But they
No,
didn't look that intimidating. So
no, and they haven't yet. Um,
yeah, I'd say yeah.
so all four games, my issue's been with the defense, not Charlie McAvoy, not Charlie McAvoy at all. Um, he's made errors. He always will. He's a person, but he is exemplary in his role. So all in all, he'd be the guy I wouldn't be yelling at in the locker room right now. I think Zadorov is having a real hard time getting out of that man-on-man coverage that he's familiar with in the West, coming into a system like ours that is a collapsing defense that pushes people to the edge, that rotates out around the goaltenders. I was watching all of Zadorov's highlights, right? Like he played in a lot of different places. But for the most part, he was central and west. And for the most part, he had this freedom to move his body way out of position to go and take that head and just smash somebody. And now he's being told, collapse in, fold in on that goalie, take out the angles first. And that's what works for us. Our system works really well. And he's just struggling to adapt to it. So I'm going to give him some time.
Hmm.
But he was the guy I was most excited about. He's the guy I'm the most let down on play. He's got a penalty every game.
Yeah.
Um, he's not looking like he fits right now. But hey, you're talking about a career player familiar with something else, so it's going to take time. I'm not
For
knocking the
sure.
door. Hampus Lindholm looks really good. He looks like a new player this year. I'd say that he's it's funny. He's a big dude. He's soft. And he's soft and he gets knocked off the puck really easily, but the way he transitions from defense to offense is the most impactful so far outside of McAvoy. Um, my big thumbs down is Brandon Carlo. Brandon Carlo, who is a stalwart shutdown defenseman, has been anything but a shutdown defenseman. Beginning of the season, give him some leeway, but Brandon Carlo, it doesn't look like himself. Then you go down to the bottom lines. Lorai is a child and he's being one, making mistakes, then doing something incredible like scoring an amazing goal, right? And then Peak is just that guy. He's just a good third pairing defenseman. I thought he looked pretty good in the last game, but nothing to write home about. Corpusalo, I don't ever want to see in goal again. I don't ever
That
want to see in goal
I
again.
believe. That I believe. It was rough,
Um,
and I get it. It's definitely seen it before.
I'm not, and again, it wasn't just him, but I've seen our team buy into goalie Bob being the answer and getting someone in to fix, like, hey, goalie Bob, he can fix them. I don't think this guy's fixable. I really don't. And I think it's a
Think so.
big contract for a long time. And I'm very upset that this was part of the return for Allmark. Some news: Allmark did sign 4 years,
Yeah.
8.25. Uh, but that's not my fucking problem. Uh, yeah, I was pretty shocked at Corpusala's play. I really don't ever want to see him laced up again. I'm probably going to have to soon. They didn't put him down. They didn't call up Bussy. They're probably not going to. They're going to probably ride this out for a bit, but I didn't like it. Moving up.
Yeah.
Let me get into the top line. So I'm going to start with a positivity, and then I'm going to get to the most frustrating thing I've seen yet. So Elias Lindholm is a golden god. Elias Lindholm is exactly what I thought he was going to be for us.
Yeah.
When we were in the draft, Ken was like, "Oh, you're a believer, Mick? Like, I'm not sold." And I was like, "You're a fucking donkey. Like, there
Also,
is
how can
no."
you not be sold? That's kind of a little silly to say, you know? It's like, he
I
definitely
sent
fits that
him.
team well, and he's a great player, so.
It's all about right. Like we were just talking about with Zadorov. Elias Lindholm doesn't need to change at all.
Right.
He has been a Bruin since he was a Hurricane. Like he is just exactly what you would put as, yeah, that's a Bruin. Like that's the way that they, that's the center for the Bruins. That makes sense the way he plays. And guess what? It's fucking working. He's leading the team in points. I think he's tied now for the fourth line center, Kastelik, which we're getting into. Um, Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak, that Czech connection with Elias Lindholm in the middle. Fucking chef's kiss. Beautiful. Love every second of it. So glad that's my line for at least 4 years, right? Zacha's still got some time on his deal. I hope we keep him longer. He's young, and him and Pasta have a connection, right? Like, let him ride out with those guys. I'm going to jump right to the third line. Freddie looks phenomenal. Freddie is a fantastic Bruin. He's ready to be a second line left wing. He's obviously third because there's another guy we're going to get to in a minute. Matt Patra, the young kid, love him. I am so in love with it. Dude, he reminds me of like a very young David Krejci. Smooth, soft, will play out, slow with the puck, not afraid to make these plays. He's gotten some muscle in the offseason. He's not afraid. Plus, he's got two fucking mutants on his wings. Looking
Straight
good.
up.
Brazzers looks good. Oh, by the way, Brazeau, I call him Brazzers like the porn site because it's fucking hilarious. Okay, so the fourth line, best line in the NHL. Fight me on it.
It is.
It's the
It's
best line in the
crazy.
NHL.
That's what I'm
Buddy,
saying. I'm
our
like, so what happens when this, your other top six really starts taking off, which is inevitable, if you ask me.
mm,
That's a
mm,
scary, it's a scary
mm.
team.
We'll get there. Uh we had our fourth line produce 3 goals against the Panthers and still lost.
Yeah.
Mark Kaslick was born to be here. Johnny Beecher looks phenomenal along his side. He is consistently fast and there in the play. And this Cole Kepke kid who came out of fucking nowhere and is on this team. I didn't know nothing about. I fucking got a tattoo of his face on me already, dude. The kid is gold. Like I didn't even know who he was until he was here. And I love that fourth line. Don't change a thing. It's work. Don't change it till it stops working.
Right.
All of that's good. Recapping the games, we won the games we should. We lost the games we should have won. Right? Panthers outplayed us. The refs helped. I'm not going to even bitch about them. That's not fair. You know what? Refs didn't help you win, so win it again. Like you just have to do that. And unfortunately, some of the things that happened in those games were really dirty that, were missed and stuff, but what game doesn't have that? So I'm not going to, I'd love to put blame on anything but us, but it's not. It's our fault. Swayman needs to make a couple saves in that last game. He looked good in the first 2 games. I mean, he looked rusty, but he was able to pull out the win. The second line. I am done. I am done with the Morgan Geeky experiment.
That I believe.
I'm done. I'm done. He is not a top six forward. He has never been a top six forward. He is a usable bottom six forward. He is most likely a great grinder that can hold the puck for a couple minutes. I don't care that Brad Marchand likes his game. It doesn't
which is
matter.
crazy. Crazy.
Right now, 3 people on the second line. One of them is always my punching bag. Geeky's now my new punching bag. And Brad Marchand should never be in the conversation of being a punching bag. Brad Marchand has 2 assists, one on a power play and one not on the line with those guys. Charlie Coyle and Connor Geeky have 0 points in 4 games and are -5. Not good enough.
Not good. Yeah, they haven't been playing them well. They've only been, what I'm seeing here, about 12% total in all these games. He's been out on that ice. So that's probably adding up to maybe 13 minutes of time out there. And it seems like the majority of that entire time, Marchand has to be next to him holding his wrist. And I remember last year kind of just poking at you with this guy. I'm like, why? Like, why is he? Is there just something missing? Is this just for money reasons? Because this doesn't make sense to me. That is like the one piece of this whole team where I'm like, when he's out there, people just gonna keep on taking advantage. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole wide open spot every time he's out there, and then that's how they can start gaining momentum on you. So you can have great bottom, great surrounding, but man, when you have if your defense isn't playing up to par and you have a winger that's just not producing and keeping up, that opens up so much to get points on you, especially when you don't have a goalie tandem anymore.
Yep. He is an offensive black hole.
Yeah.
He has no, I
Yeah.
mean, he just does nothing. And Coyle, so it's hard, man. I like Charlie Coyle. There are people that are huge fans of Charlie Coyle. If he left the team, I don't see a void. Um, but last year he answered the bell when Marchand or when Bergeron and Krejci walked away, and I thought he stepped up to the plate. He had an okay season. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but he is terrible right now.
Yeah. Right now.
And I gotta say this, and this sucks. Brad Marchand is a third line left wing now. That decline was super fast. Uh, it
Right.
reminds me of Gino. It's like asking a guy that shouldn't be in his spot to continue to be in his spot. Is he going to make points? Yeah. Is he going to be important? Yeah. Is it the right thing though? No. There should be there should be somebody else in place of Brad Marchand on that second line already. And I think Frederick can. I really do. And I don't think that they're ever going to allow that because he's captain of the Boston Bruins. So
Right.
now we're going to just have to deal with whatever the fuck the outcome is. I'm going to be honest with you. When you have a line like Zaka, Lindholm, and Pasta, which is fantastic, they're going to go up against everyone else's first line, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to have the numbers that you know, you need secondary scoring in the NHL.
Absolutely.
And if your bottom lines are getting pucks in because they're murdering everybody, which has been just awesome, awesome to see pucks flutter in because somebody's being
Yeah.
choked to death.
What's that feel like? Can I just get like a
It's
crumb of
so
that?
good. It's so cool. It's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing in the world. And watching Patra develop, fantastic. But what I'm saying is, you have your first line out there and they get shut down. They got Matt Tkachuk biting them in the neck, and they got Barkov ripping through them, and they've got Sam Reinhart just posting every fucking thing in. You need to have your second line go out there and go, okay, we can answer this because our second line is strong, and that has not been the case. And so, as much as I want to blame Swayman for his nonsense in training camp and all this shit, the reality is that you can't win 0-0 games. And we're playing 5-4 games and still not being able to put that together because when we need a goal, our second line disappears. Our second power play unit is a fucking joke. I mean, the names on there, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
really? What is this? This is not a second power play. This is a penalty kill. Like this is terrible.
Yeah.
So here's what I think, man. I think it's pretty obvious that they value Connor Geeky. I would like to see a switch. I'd like to see like Brazzers pop down a line or stay there and they just swap Geeky for center and put Patra up on the wing for a little bit. I know Patra needs to develop as a center, but he's also going to be what, second line center for us for a long time. So why not go learn to play with the second line center right now and learn from Coyle? I don't see that being a bad thing. He's a right-handed right wing, even though he's more a center. But that experience of understanding, not just being a playmaker but scoring goals too, it can't be bad. He'll only shine. So I think it's time he gets that bump and Geeky gets pushed down a little bit. Other than that, a trade.
Listen, Geeky's got to get pushed down somewhere because he's so irrelevant that you don't even know that his name's Morgan. So
Oh,
that's
did I call him Connor?
yeah.
Because that's the one I actually
Because
want.
who gives a shit? Get him out of
Yeah,
here.
Morgan. Morgan is his name, dude. Come on, get out of here. I
Ugh.
gotta say, man, there's something there though in our future, right? Like I think
Yeah, for sure.
there's the defense is only going to get better. They're going to get more comfortable together. They're going to figure the system out. They're gonna. They're all so good. Our defense is so good. Even Parker Wotherspoon, the seventh D, is a solid third pairing guy, probably a bubble fourth guy. Like I, I feel really good about the defense, even though they're not showing how brilliant they can be yet. Swayman's going to come back to being Swayman. If Corpusala doesn't work out, we got a couple guys in there. I'm all okay with all of that taking a little bit of time.
Sure.
I'm not okay with our second line. And honestly, if they're going to do anything, it's got to be fast. It's got to be now. It's got to be, hey, package this Fabian Lascelles kid that can't crack the team for whatever reason with Morgan Connor, whatever his name is, maybe another piece, and get a $4 million wing back. Get somebody back that is Tyler Toffoli esque. It doesn't have to be Tyler Toffoli, but I mean somebody that's affordable that is going to put 20 goals in, maybe 30 assists, maybe be an impact player in important games, maybe have some fucking veteran leadership, maybe still have some legs under him though. I mean, there's a bunch of those guys. I'm not saying go get Patrick
Yeah.
Kane.
Give the Devils a call and ask them what the hell they're doing because they seem to always find that recently here.
I'll take
Bunch
Paul
of
Cotter.
fucking
Paul Cotter,
sure you will. Sure you will.
baby, go. That's my rant. I think we're gonna have a better week. We play tomorrow.
Play the
Um,
Avs, which is good news because they stink.
yeah, they're gonna win tomorrow though. Avs are gonna win. I
You
can.
know, it sucks when you're about to grab a team that's just been on a downward spiral, and then they just get desperate, and now you're playing a
McKinnon's
heartbreak game.
McKinnon's he's in a bathtub right now, leaning on a bathtub, cutting his arm. He can't handle this, dude. He's not doing well. He's
He's
giving
never.
himself a fucking tattoo with a guitar string right now that says "kill." Like he's not having it, buddy. Um,
He's just drinking toilet hooch, just trying to figure out what the hell he's got to do.
he's a
But dude, did you
dog,
see
man.
his hit on Romanov?
Yeah, he.
How he
I mean,
just
it
able to
wasn't a hit; it was
hit.
a nuclear bomb.
He obliterated him,
It was
and
awesome.
he shouldn't have. I can't believe how fast that guy can move, how big he is, and seeing him from well, me to you away here, he is a massive man, and for him to just float like a ballerina, and then lay you out like a Mack truck. When I saw that hit, I watched it 75 times. I was
Yeah,
like, this is the
it's cool.
greatest thing ever. So it was
It's
pretty
so
cool to see
cool.
him do that. But you could see that that man has something in his brain that a lot of us don't on how to he wants it every single game.
Yeah.
And that hit just proved it because they are not playing well. They were getting their asses kicked. And that whole team just did not look like a recognizable Avalanche that I've been used to now.
He's the emotional leader of that club, no matter who the captain is, and I don't expect to win tomorrow. But we can't talk only about the Bruins, although I think it's valuable because what you talk about is invaluable. But I want to start out by saying thank you for beating Montreal so good last night.
Oh,
Thank
dude, it gave me hope. It made me unplug my toaster in the bathtub.
you.
That's that's it's just nice that what I'm seeing here is we can't beat the teams that we're supposed to beat. We're not going to beat these teams that are like going to be in the playoffs, right? That's sad. but we are beating the teams, it seems like, in a really good fashion that we're supposed to be. And hopefully, as the season goes on, we can start snaking some games and just squeak in. And once you get into the playoffs, who knows? I definitely would like to probably only see us as first round exits. I hate to say that and admit it. I'd like to be a little bit more positive thinking, but you're going through your lines here, and I'm just kind of thinking in the background, like, yeah, you have hope. You have you have young stars that you just like can now develop in there and see where they go. You still have, Pasta, who has a lot of years left in him, and he's always gonna be a Bruin. So you just have somebody there to staple and work around. Like, we don't have that guy. You think Ricard Raquel is gonna be the fucking guy that we're gonna build this team around afterwards? It's sad. So like the only thing that's been keeping me, just a little bit with some air in my lungs is like I got to witness 20 years, and it's just like I gotta like talk myself into like a eulogy where I'm like, it's been a
Right.
great run,
Yeah.
and it's great to see these guys. It's great to still see that they're producing. Crosby, I think, still has yet to even put in a goal, but he's assisting well with the young talent around him.
Mhm.
Gino
Can I
is about
push
to hit
back
some.
on
We're just
one?
watching guys hit milestones. Like that's just all I'm seeing this year. Just hitting guys hitting milestones.
I want to push back on that a little bit, just a little bit
I
on
mean,
what
I
you said.
can. I could be talking on two sides of my face right now for sure. I can flip it, but as of now, as a whole, that is what's happening. Like that's just the reality of it.
Well, let me ask you this, right? Like, there's a huge gap between young and old. There's no in between. That's very clear. It's like washed up or the greats that they used to be are not really there anymore. And when I say washed up, I'm not talking about Gino. Like I'm talking about Raquel or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you got these kids and the goaltending is a question mark. Blah 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 blah. But there is a guy, and I just don't think he's valued by your fandom enough. But I truly believe Michael Bunting might be that guy.
Oh, I'm the biggest Michael Bunting
Okay.
guy. No,
Okay.
everybody's laughing at me. I got him on my buddies' fantasy teams. I'm like, when they do put him in the spot that he's supposed to, that they're not, which I can go in on coaching with this team up and down, dude. It makes me want to pull the little bit of hair left out of my head. It is driving me insane. They're not utilizing him properly. They did when they got him at the end of last year when they were making a playoff push. Put him where he needs to be.
Right.
It's crazy. They're not even. Yeah, there's
Is
just
he
a huge separation of how they're utilizing their lines, and Bunting is not a priority when I really think he should be. He's a brute. He can chip in pucks perfectly. He knows how to deflect pucks in really well, and he can just be a thorn in goalies' faces all day. And he just knows how to maneuver in front of that net perfectly. That's what he should have been there for. You need that guy. You need that Patrick Hornquist guy who can get you those extra 2, 3 goals a game, and
Mhm.
they're not doing anything with them. And I'm
Right.
sitting over here when they do throw him out there on. I think he's on the second power play. Talk about a second power play line that just looks like a penalty kill. They just look like a penalty kill at a circus somewhere. They're so out of place.
Mm.
They look just miscoached. They don't know what they're doing. I don't. Maybe I'm just like not giving this the time. Maybe I'm not seeing it, but I really just don't think that they have that. I think they're just a little bit lost as to like how they want to play their style of game. They do have something there, but what is it and what's the formula to get it to really start going?
I don't know
I don't
what
either,
happened with
man. It's tough.
what happened with Rucker last night. Why didn't he? Do we know why he didn't play?
I think he got a little bit banged up. But I don't think he's out. But I think he
Maintenance.
definitely looked a little bit more like a deer in headlights when I watched it. He looked good. I think there's a lot to take out of him too. I think I'm not going to dog him by any
No,
means. Like the
no.
kid's young, he's super talented. He's going to be a great asset to this team. But I think it's just kind of being like, all right, buddy, dip your toes in the water, get your moment, sit back. We got a team here that can do something, but we'll fit you in when we start like figuring out some other shit, what's working, what's not working. Because we do have a lot of new faces on this team that's just
Hmm.
built around the guys who've been there for 20 years.
Hmm.
So I'm not. Brian Russ is coming back soon, which is nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna
I
have
like
him
I
for
like
6 more
Russ.
days, and then he's gonna be hurt for another month. But we get him for 6 days, and when he got him for that 6 days, and he gets 2 goals, and I can go get half off of Rusty shakes down at the milkshake factory. That's a great time.
I like
But
Russ, man. I
I
like
do too.
him.
I do too. But it's a shame that he's just I'm not even gonna say made out of glass. He plays the way that I want to see the rest of this fucking team play. And he's a great example for how these young kids can play,
Mm.
but he's the only one doing it, and that just leaves you vulnerable, and you're just going to keep on, getting your ankle smashed and your knees smashed and your hip out, and like it's a tough way to play this game. And that's kind of what, just like the Marshawn effect, like the way that that guy plays, it's astonishing how he hasn't missed full on seasons after seasons. Because if I played 30 seconds of the style that he played at that level, I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah. You brought it up. Marshawn's every summer had 3 surgeries, and I can see the exact same scope. If Russ can stay healthy ever, that it would be like, he'd be getting into that cyclical, I'm going to hold it off till the off season and find out, oh shit, I don't have a kneecap anymore, or whatever. He's just that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the team needs him. I was looking at, I think it was the Carlson goal the other night, and it pisses me off so much with Eric Carlson because I think back to like his Ottawa days, and I'm like, fuck, if he could just, and the year before you got him, he had 100 points on the Sharks.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
if he could just be consistent, get 10 goals a year, get 40 assists consistently. We're not asking him to get 90, 100 like he used to.
I think he did that last season, but it didn't look pretty, and I was really shocked to see how many assists he had last year, because he didn't do anything on
Power
the
play.
power play. He really didn't fit our team. And I understand why you had to go get him. I guess it was still kind of the right move, but at the same time, I hate the price tag. I hate the age. I just feel like you're always going to have a regression year after a 100-point season. How the fuck are you supposed to do that again? So it just didn't make sense for me, but I understand why you had to do it. But again, it's just like, can you get that 40 assists again with this team when I can't give away too many names or anything, but reliable source last year who worked closely with them knew the Reardon family, and as our assistant coach. And his wife kind of spilled the beans because she likes to have a big old fucking mouth, huge yapper apparently. And I guess there was just massive butting heads between Carlson and the coaching staff, like
Mm.
in general. And they were just saying, like, everybody in this. I mean, I was watched 15 games in that arena, and every single game it was fire back Canada and fire Reardon. And they're like,
Mhm.
oh, it's tough to watch my husband. They're yelling this when Carlson walks up to him and says, like, I don't want to do that, and walks away. And I'm like, regardless of you not liking the play that's getting drawn up, you just being that negative influence, if that's true. But again, coming straight from the horse's mouth of Reardon's wife and them, it's got to be a little true. Um,
Mm.
and that just causes so much friction there. So you got a guy that you're paying the most on this team that doesn't even really deserve it, and he's being just toxic in the locker room. He's not producing on the ice. You're there to grab extra points on the power play, and you're failing immensely. And
Mm.
sure, it shows 40 assists on there, but are you getting the 40 assists against dog shit teams, and you're getting them three at a time? And then when you're playing in the moments that you're really supposed to get yourself over that hill, are you really ever going to be an asset to this team when you're not
An
showing up when
impact.
you really, really need to?
Right.
And I'm going to watch him a little bit more closely this year to see when does he show up and when does he falter.
Mm.
Because when he isn't playing that well against, these awesome, really strong, fantastic teams like the Calgary Flames this year,
Diehard
are you
Calgary
gonna
Flames
are
fan.
you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna, can you get over the hump of St. Louis, who are the Kings right now? That's gonna win you the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you got with him, but I do know you have the answer if it's not him, and that's Matt Grizzly.
Don't even get me started on this guy. Holy fuck, dude! Talk about a ghost town out there. And yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. You're saying this whole time about defense, and I just like was trying to listen to you, but it was really hard without just the monkey smashing cymbals of just being like, your defense fucking sucks. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, what are you supposed to do with this? Yeah, Grizzlick and Latang. My cousin calls him LeClang. I call him a liability. He's been fucking just a turnover king
Yeah.
forever.
Hmm.
And then you got Latang 2.0 and Carlson. they look like the same guy out there.
Right.
Sometimes I can't even tell the difference. Um, Marcus Pedersen is a godsend. He's the only guy that I can really see on this defense that he does what he's supposed to do. And man, pay that guy. Just pay him and figure out the defense here the next 2 years before you never see Crosby again on this ice.
Right.
But aside what you were saying before in the other pod, Ryan Graves sucks, dude. You could
No.
put him anywhere. Put him next to Kale McCarr. That guy fucking stinks. And you know
No.
what? I wasn't when we got him from the Devils. I was like, I know this guy. I've watched him. He's fucking great. Little slim. He's gonna get bullied, but he knows how to move a puck. Dude, is he? I know our team and coaching probably plays a lot into it, sure, but I can't buy into this fucking guy. He just looks like an absolute lost clown out there, and he just looks baffled. He also looks like if Crosby and Carlson had a baby together, and you just throw him out there. But he doesn't play like either of them, and I
Right.
haven't seen that at all.
No.
So
That's
this defense stinks, especially when you don't have a goaltender. So I don't know, man. I was feeling a little again. Preseason had me hyped. Was thinking, holy shit, maybe we can just power through and still score these 6 goals, and we can do that. But that is tough to do every game. You're not going to win games against any team in this league with 4 goals with the defense and having Jari in net. It's
right.
just not going to be it. It's not enough.
Right.
It sucks. We're wasting Crosby's last 2 years. We didn't do anything to set him up.
Well, here's what I think, right? You have, as much as I bash Dubas for bad trades, you have the ability to do something that will put Dubas in a situation to make a big ass move for you. And the truth is, like, Dubas loves his guys.
Oh, for
Loves
sure.
his guys. I think that Dubas, if I could pick on him a little bit, was that guy in high school that just couldn't get along with anybody and was a nerd. And now he's like the same age as these hockey players, so he's like trying to be a bro, but he's just the nerd, you know.
You've
And
got no
you know,
argument out of there with me. And I do
yeah,
like him. I do like him. I'm glad that he did what he did here. Again, it's just not going to add up to enough because of the defense. I actually don't hate the offense that much.
no,
Um,
but I will tell
but,
you this:
but you are right, though.
he is going to get you if you can put yourself in the playoffs by the trade deadline. He's gonna figure out a way to get Marner on this team.
Dude, I'm so sick of getting my hopes up for so many things and then just getting the carpet ripped out from underneath me. But I think about that way more often than I lead on. That would be fantastic. I've heard rumors. Those two seem to have a good relationship, so it shouldn't be like pulling teeth. And to kind of advertise to Marner to be like, you get to play with these guys in their last ride.
Yeah,
There's a lot to buy into, and he would be such a phenomenal asset to this team. And then I think that would be a good missing piece to get them over the hump, and they can put in 5 goals a game. He's a good
right.
talent, man. So like I would love to have him.
He
It's
would
going to
be
be tough to get him here, though. I think.
well. It's going to be costly. I mean,
That's what I mean. Yeah, just the price tag.
well, here's the other thing, right? Like, let's just play this out. So you guys are in a wild card spot, and the issue is you have a 3-5 goals against average. Your priority shouldn't be Marner if you're losing 6-5 games. You got the 5 goals. You need to stop the 6 going in. Your priority should be a goalie. That can be addressed in depth, though. We know that,
Right.
but I don't see that happening. But let's say that you guys are in third. That's going to be tough. But you've kind of proven at that point to your, organization, like, hey, we are winning 5-4 games, and the goaltending's not great, but maybe get us some depth in goaltending and put us, give us another sniper. The one thing that they cannot do, sadly, is address defense. They have to do it in house. They have to get Pedersen locked up. So whatever that takes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just go the complete opposite way and say you're not in playoffs at the trade deadline. Okay,
Real
rip some stuff
reality.
down. and Marner hits free agency, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that Marner's not going to sign an extension with Toronto until the offseason.
Right.
And if push comes to shove and he does the Marner shit he does in playoffs, he's not going to sign in Toronto. They're not going to give him a contract. And I think that he hits free agency and there's going to be a lot of teams bidding for him. But what the Penguins have that no one else has is Sidney Crosby
Right.
and his buddy running shit.
Right.
So I think that no matter what way you look at it, if I was a gambling man, I'd say there's an 80% chance that Marner is wearing a Penguins jersey at some point in the next year. In 2025, whether that's pre-playoffs or after the draft. It's one of
I
those
mean,
two
there's
things.
gotta be some reason why Dubas was just like getting all those picks back for us, though, that we lost,
What
over
do
2 years ago.
yeah?
He gathered, like I said in the other pod, like he gathered some good names and acquired a lot of picks. And I think he is just a magician like that, where, I mean, like, he is our only hope to get somebody like him on this team. And man, would it be fucking awesome to have a guy like Mitch Marner on this team. But again, I just can't this town, especially the Steelers lately, they just get all these names and they're bidding and they're being aggressive and it's awesome to see. But it stinks just kind of just being like, ooh, like Devonte Adams can come here, and then like it was just never a second thought. He was never coming here. But it's just this ups and downs. It's emotionally exhausting. So I can't think about it too much, even though it creeps in daily that we can possibly get a guy like him. And it is we do have probably the best running at it once that time comes around. But man, you got to win to even get in that playoff realm to make it look even more appealing to be like, hey man, come here and help us go. Like that's a really great selling point to be like, you want Crosby? Do you want to like help, push the back on Crosby here to make another deep playoff run or just to get to the playoffs? And that's got to be like, man, I'd like to have that on my resume. So it would be nice to, set ourselves up to have that going forward. But who knows? Right now, we don't have Mitch Marner, and it's looking not awful. It's crazy. It's just like they did this to us last year. It's like every other game. It's just like a game where I'm like, did you guys even discuss that you were lacing up tonight? And then there's another game where I'm like, oh man, we're so back. Like they just look aggressive. They look fun. They look loose. They're hitting the puck harder than like other days. So it's up and down, but again, they do that against teams that they should just automatically be beating. So who knows if they can turn it on just a little bit. I mean, they signed again. They've got to have some gas in the tank. I know they're old, but like watching Crosby doesn't look like he lost a step. It's insane.
He's
Gino is doing what he's been doing for the past 10 years, where sure he's a turnover machine, but I've still watched him skate and just flow like a butterfly through 4 guys and just still get to the front of the net. So that's huge. I'm excited to watch him get his 500th goal here tomorrow.
yeah, he
But
had a big week, right? He hit 800 assists. You said he had 1,300 points, and now he's going to hit 500. That's a huge milestone. I mean, the guy's been doing this forever, but it's right. I mean, he's earned every fucking point. Like it's not. He is a great player as much as I fucking hate him. But I was looking over here at your draft
it's
picks and stuff.
frustrating.
I was pretty impressed
No,
because you're right. A lot of seconds, a lot of thirds, couple depth picks like fifths and sevenths added. Like there's fourths. I mean, like they have all their firsts. I think they need them. I think they need them. I don't think they should be trading them willy nilly, man. Like I think that they need to start
right.
adding
It's
some
one or the
youth.
other. Either you start utilizing these picks in the right fashion and start building some hope for the city to, so this franchise doesn't get sold to fucking Houston. You got to figure something out to keep it going because when you aren't selling tickets because Crosby's not on that ice, this town loves their sports teams, but you have to win for them to pay for that high price ticket to go see
Mhm.
them. If you're not winning around here, this town's not paying for those tickets.
Right. They'll watch on TV, but they don't. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, also it's disgusting to let an extension like that be the news and not find a way to make it worth it. Like,
Hey,
what is Crosby doing here if he's not winning? He's not going to be training the next Crosby. You don't have that depth. He's
no,
not going to be really. He's not really supposed to be here to show wingers how to score goals. Like supposed to be here to win, right? So, and yeah, I mean, like, dude, some of those fucking contracts on that team are disgusting. Like, Letang is 37 years old and he's got 6 years left on his deal. Like, that's fucking embarrassing. But
Great.
ultimately, it was to try to keep the money low to add to win, and but now you're not doing it. You went and clogged up 10 million in Carlson. Like,
That's
oddly
the big
enough,
piece right there, man. Him. That price tag made zero sense to me, and we lost Gensel out of this whole fucking deal because you locked him up too.
and I'm wondering what's
So
going to happen with Pedersen because Pedersen is due for a big raise, and you got Ryan Graves for 5 years, you got Carlson for 3, Letang for the rest of time. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, you can totally look at the Geno signing and the Crosby signing and be like, "Yep, that's fine. That's not a lot of money." But then you go down the thing and you're like, "Why is Raquel extended? Why has Russ got 9 years left? Like, what is?" I don't understand some of their signings, but I do think that there's enough here that if your team puts himself in any of those three positions, that you'll be happily buying a number 16 jersey next year.
oh, I would love to.
Yeah, I think you would.
I'll put that right there. That'd be great.
I'd
Right
put it
right
right
next
in
to
the
my
fucking
Michael
trash.
Bunting jersey that I'm about to be getting on the way.
About to put that fucking Carlson jersey on for you. Big Carlson guy.
Yeah,
No,
that nobody around here is.
listen,
I just remember like everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna be getting that name," and I'm like, "Oh, you guys just don't get it. You guys just don't get it." I get it. I get the name. I get what he did last season. I just knew he was not going to replicate that here, and I just that price tag was just like, is there anybody else he could have gotten? I mean,
I'm
why couldn't you
happy.
go after Zadorov? Why couldn't you go after fucking bigger guys that had to get let go on bigger teams because they had to pay fucking stars that just came out of nowhere in their playoff runs? Like you couldn't just figure something else out. You just had to go and get that name. I just feel like Dubas again, like yeah, he was that nerd, so he had to like win over the fan base quick. Why can't you just shut out that noise for a little bit? We're all dumb yinzers around here. Like they don't fucking know puck. They're Steelers country still here, no matter what. So like, yeah, the big name is cute and all, but not when you're 38 years old and you're so
He's
10
he's
and a half.
young. Isn't he like
Carlson?
30, 33, 34?
I think he's like 34 or 5, but
Either way.
you're past
Either
30,
way.
dude. I mean,
Mid 30s. You're right. You're right. You're right. It's an aged out, and we were talking about, you're like, yeah, my team's younger, and it's like the second. Dude, you know what's fucking crazy? My buddy Gary told me today that the Bruins are third youngest team in the league. I'm like, what?
yeah, I knew that they were young, but I didn't know that they would be the third. I mean, just
Yeah.
because.
And then I
Oh,
thought
I
about
mean,
it.
yeah,
There's the
that makes sense. That's
only
good.
person over 30 years old is Marchand. Everybody else is 28 and under. It's crazy. Like, the new wave is here, and that's what you're missing, right? You're like, what's the, like, you look at Pasta and McAvoy, and you're like, oh yeah, those guys have been in the league forever. They're 25 and
Right.
28.
We
Like, they,
forget that you come into the league at 18. In
yep,
other sports, you jump in around 24.
right.
So, like, that's why I got kind of shocked about, like, seeing Kaprizov's age, actually. I was looking up the Wild when we were, like, talking about them because I was like, he's been in the league for, like, ever, it seems like. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's been here for 7 years. But, I mean,
He's
he's still
18, but he's
24
but he's
years
18 years
old.
old. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's
Crazy.
well, I think it's a good time to wrap. I mean, like, we have we had a we got through the first week. There's ups and downs for both of us as we expected. When we started this pod, we're like, hey, we're not on the top. Our teams are not on the top, but they're going to win the cup. Both of our teams are going to win the cup this year. We know
That's
that.
true. Yeah, at the
We
same
know
time.
that. We're gonna both hold the cup on each side. And we're gonna be like, we
Exactly.
both
Does
won.
this work?
And then again, that's if we change to Calgary and St. Louis fans. That's how that would happen because those two teams are the best. All right, buddy. I'm a wrap.
All right. Well, this has been not a good hockey pod.
It has been not a good hockey pod.